After a long ministry, teaching young boys primarily, St. John Bosco wrote to those who would follow him, again, this large religious order that began to form around what he was doing and even expand into religious women's community, the Salesians of Don Bosco's sisters. He said to them, and this is, to other people that would be teaching young people, it is easier to become angry than to restrain oneself and to threaten a boy than persuade him. Wise counsel from one who must have experienced the challenge in teaching young people to the opposite, that there would be anger or the threatening might be effective at a faster pace than the one who would restrain and the one who might persuade. That's a gift that needs the same growth and development that we heard about in the seed, that it doesn't just appear. That after a long life of ministry, St. John Bosco taught his brothers and sisters and is teaching us again of what the first reading so beautifully, I love the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10 especially, this is fantastic, of how and what a person following Jesus might be involved in and make others scratch their heads of why they would put their confidence in this and endure and receive what God has promised. But we know people who have, perhaps one of your own teachers that had touched your life in such a way that you still remember why and how they did something that was maybe seemed minuscule, but the way they were present to you, the way that they engaged you, changed you. Thank God that there's still opportunities for us to grow to being people like that just don't make people scratch their heads, but begin to ask the question, how do I get what they've got? How do I remain a person of strong faith even in the face of trial or persecution or imprisonment according to the first reason, getting closer to the suffering? That's not easy. So St. John Bosco found a way to do that to young people in a way that helped them, to inspire them to perhaps go and stay on the right path, even though they might not have had the best family situations or whatever their trials may have been. But he learned somehow what that patience or that willingness to persuade by life, by the way one lives one's life, rather than just to try to get it done quickly. And we know that we find time in our lives for the things that are important to us. Isn't that important that he found these kids important and ultimately formed a religious community to help them to be stable and secure rather than just thrown about by the whims of the world. So we have this great example today and begin to see how Jesus sowed his seed through the ministry of St. John Bosco, planted that in young people's lives in a way that then blossomed and grew and continues to affect us even today. And we hear of this call to be like John Bosco, who I know encouraged his disciples not only just to restrain or persuade, but also to sit in private with Jesus. There were his disciples, and to learn from him how to interact, how to give one's life as a gift. That's not easy, and it takes a while for us to distance ourselves or be purified from our own self-centeredness. That's not an easy job. But Jesus desires that not primarily just to make our lives difficult, but so that we can grow more and more to do things that are ultimately meaningful in his eyes, distancing ourselves from anything that would be a waste of God's time. So let's ask St. John Bosco, our patron St. Anthony, to help us to attempt to respond to Jesus as faithfully as St. John Bosco, as St. Anthony did, that we might too have that type of impact. It's not just about us, but how can we allow Jesus then to work through us, through our trust, through our confidence, through our perseverance, to be among those who have faith and will possess life. That's a gift. Let's see if we can give it.